For decades, Leave It to Beaver represented everything America wanted to believe about itself: perfect lawns, perfect parents, and perfectly behaved children. But the truth, recently revealed through rare interviews with Jerry Mathers, tells a very different story. Behind those bright studio lights was a world of quiet heartbreak, censorship battles, and strange production choices that almost no one outside the cast ever knew. What Jerry described paints Leave It to Beaver not as a portrait of perfection, but as a show built on determination, loss, and hidden struggles. These are the 10 shocking secrets behind Leave It to Beaver that change everything you thought you knew. 1. The hidden tragedy behind TV's perfect father. Hugh Beaumont, the man who embodied wisdom and composure as Ward Cleaver, was carrying an unspoken grief. Just as the show reached its peak in 1959, his family was involved in a devastating car accident that took the life of his mother-in-law and left his son seriously injured. Yet every week, Beaumont stepped into the studio, smiled, and delivered the gentle lessons that defined his character. Those who worked with him later realized how much pain he was concealing. His quiet strength on screen wasn't acting. It was endurance. The perfect father millions adored was a man silently mourning behind every comforting line. 2. The flaw that created an icon, Barbara. Billingsley's image as June Cleaver, the serene, pearl-clad matriarch, wasn't the product of glamour. It began as a camera fix. Under the bright studio lights, a small hollow in her neck cast a shadow the crew couldn't hide, so she began wearing a strand of pearls to soften the image. It worked so well that it became her trademark. The high heels were another adjustment, a quiet way to keep her from being dwarfed by the growing boys who played her sons. What began as technical necessity transformed into one of television's most enduring images of perfection, a portrait built, quite literally, to conceal imperfection. 3. The episode that nearly bankrupted the show. In 1961, Leave It to Beaver filmed an episode called In the Soup. On screen, it was a simple story about Beaver climbing a giant billboard and getting stuck in a fake bowl of soup. But behind the scenes, it became a financial disaster. To pull off the illusion, 2 enormous sets were built, one full-scale outdoor billboard and one massive indoor replica for close-ups. Combined with cranes, effects, and safety rigging, the production cost skyrocketed to nearly $50,000, a shocking figure for the time. The crew joked that Beaver didn't just get stuck in soup, the whole show nearly drowned in it. The following episodes were forced to scale down budgets just to recover. 4. The scene that shattered television taboos. In 1957, Leave It to Beaver quietly made history with something most people never noticed: the first toilet ever shown on American television. In the episode Captain Jack, Wally and Beaver try to hide a baby alligator in the tank of a household toilet. When network censors saw the script, they erupted. Showing a bathroom fixture on screen was still considered indecent. After tense negotiations, producers were allowed to film only the upper tank, no bowl, no seat. The few seconds that made it to air shocked television executives, but thrilled audiences. Without realizing it, the Cleavers had broken one of the last taboos of 1950s television and changed what could be shown in America's living rooms forever. 5. The co-star, who vanished without a trace. Larry Mondello was one of the show's most beloved troublemakers, always eating, scheming, and leading Beaver into chaos. Then without warning, he was gone. No farewell scene, no explanation, simply missing from the next season. Behind the scenes, his disappearance came down to family tension. Rusty Stevens, the actor who played Larry, had a mother who constantly interfered with production. Eventually, the family left Hollywood altogether. The studio quietly replaced Larry with a new sidekick and moved on. For viewers, it was as if a best friend had suddenly vanished. For the cast, it was a painful reminder that fame could disappear as quickly as it arrived. 6. The real reason Judy Hensler left the show. Few fans know the story of Judy Hensler, Beaver's sharp-tongued classmate. Actress Jerry Weil left the show after only a few seasons, not because of creative disputes, but because of embarrassment. As she entered puberty, producers insisted she bind her chest with ace bandages to maintain the illusion of youth. The experience humiliated her, and she quietly stepped away. Decades later, she spoke about how difficult it had been to navigate those years in front of cameras that demanded innocence while her real life was changing. It's one of the most uncomfortable reminders that behind Leave It to Beaver's childlike charm were real children forced to grow up too fast. 7. The star who wasn't allowed to watch his own show. While millions of viewers gathered around their television sets each week, the show's star wasn't among them. Producers told Jerry Mather's parents that he was forbidden to watch Leave It to Beaver. They feared that seeing himself on screen might make him arrogant or self-aware, something that could destroy the natural charm audiences loved. So while the rest of the country laughed and learned from Beaver's mistakes, the real Beaver was doing homework, completely unaware of how big the show had become. He didn't watch the series in full until years after it ended. The boy America grew up watching never got to grow up with them. 8. The Secret Life of America's Big Brother. Before he became Wally Cleaver, Tony Dow was already a rising star, not in Hollywood, but in athletics. As a young boy, he trained as a diver and earned the title of Junior Olympics champion. When his mother brought him to an acting audition on a whim, Tony had no idea it would change his life. His athletic poise and natural confidence landed him the role that made him a household name. Yet according to Jerry, Dow never lost his discipline. The same mindset that fueled his athletic success shaped his calm, mature portrayal of Wally, the brother every kid wished they had. 9. The mystery that fans still can't solve. For 60 years, fans have debated one of television's strangest mysteries. Where exactly did the Cleaver family live? The show often mentioned their hometown as Mayfield, but never once specified a state. Some clues pointed toward Wisconsin, references to Green Bay and Madison, while other episodes hinted at Ohio or Illinois. Even the cast admitted they never knew. The vagueness was intentional. Producers wanted every American family to feel as though the Cleavers could live right next door. That deliberate ambiguity turned Mayfield into something bigger than a location. It became an idea. 10. The father who directed his own farewell. When Leave It to Beaver came to an end in 1963, the final episode carried a hidden layer of meaning. It was directed by Hugh Beaumont himself, the same man who had guided the Cleaver family with quiet authority on screen. The episode, titled Family Scrapbook, featured the family reminiscing over old photos and memories from the past 6 seasons. For viewers, it was nostalgia. For Beaumont, it was closure, a chance to say goodbye not just to his role, but to the family he helped create. He directed the final moments with deliberate tenderness, as if he knew he was closing a chapter of television history. It was his last act as both a father figure and a storyteller. The truth behind the illusion. What Jerry Mathers described isn't the story of a flawless sitcom. It's the story of people doing their best to preserve innocence in a world that was already changing. Behind the laughter were budgets, stretched thin, quiet grief, and children forced to live inside an image that wasn't entirely real. Leave It to Beaver became iconic because it offered something America desperately wanted: stability, order, kindness. But beneath that image were cracks, human cracks, that make its story even more powerful today. More than 60 years later, those who lived it remember not just the show, but the cost of keeping it perfect. If you love uncovering the secrets behind classic TV and old Hollywood legends, make sure to subscribe and stay tuned. There's always more truth hiding behind the nostalgia.